YouTube? This is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got your Week 7 start and sit video for the quarterback position. Again, hopefully you came out victorious this weekend. There were a lot of great games this past weekend. We had I would say, okay game last night. There were a lot of penalties in the Chargers and Broncos game, but the Chargers ended up finishing up that game with a victory. So let's jump right into this. We've got 4 teams on a bye. You've got the Bills, the Rams, the Vikings, and the Eagles. There are a lot of good quarterbacks that will not be playing this weekend that you've got to make sure you are taking account for. So if you haven't already, check out our waiver wire video. Or, of course, if you have questions of who you should be dropping, picking up, trading, and, of course, your starting sits, hit us up in the comments down below. These are your obvious quarterbacks you should be starting this week. These 5 right here, 6 right here should be the guys that, without question, should be in your lineup, whether it be matchup or, of course, just matchup proof at this point. Now, the first quarterback I have as a good start this week is going to be Davis Mills. A lot of people forgot who he is. The Texans were out last week, but Davis Mills actually has played a decent amount where he's done pretty well depending on his matchup. He's got a great matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders this week. Normally, Mills is not a name I'd probably say in the starting portion really ever. I mean, most people probably aren't going to start him. Maybe if you're in a deep league or you really have got a lot of injuries and you don't have anybody in the waivers. But the Raiders do allow the most points to the quarterback position with 25.6 points. They also allow 270 passing yards and an average of 2 touchdown passes allowed. So that's a lot. And the lowest scored against them was Ryan Tannehill this season with 19 points. That's the lowest. The fact that you can get Davis Mills possibly around 19 points, 20 points, I'll take that in a heartbeat. Not every quarterback is performing like that, but the Raiders are allowing that opportunity, so I like Davis Mills a lot. Another quarterback I like as a good start this week is going to be Matt Ryan. Going against the Tennessee Titans, Titans allow 21.9 points to the quarterback. They're averaging over 300 passing yards, which is the worst in the league right now. On top of that, they're allowing 2 passing touchdowns as well. Ryan just came off a 3 passing touchdown game. One of his best games he's had all season, had 27 points in fantasy. Now, do I think he's going to do that same exact replication? Not necessarily, but I can see him passing 2 touchdowns and having a 250, 280 passing yard game. So I really like this matchup for a really good, again, I didn't want to put him as a sleeper because I really do think he's a good start this week. I like his matchup a lot this week. So I like Matt Ryan here. I had him starting last week in a couple of my leagues, and I'm going to start him again this week. Now, the last quarterback I have as a good start is going to be Tua. Look, Tua, thankfully, hopefully is healthy. They say he's cleared his protocol. And right now, he could have played this weekend, but they wanted to rest him one more time, which in hindsight, I think it was a good move because I think for him, his health is so key, especially for this Dolphins offense. Going against the Steelers, who are allowing the 3rd most passing yards at 200, and they're also allowing 20.8 points to the quarterback as well. So as far as a game to come back to, this is a good one. Now, Steelers did a really good job against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was kind of a surprise, but I like this as a good game for Tua to come back with. I think it's going to be a really good, strong performance for him. He's cleared the concussion protocol. They say he's going to be good. He's healthy, and this Dolphins offense needs it. Tyreek Hill did really well this past weekend, but Waddle, I think, is probably the one taking the biggest hit with Tua out, and I think it's only going to help him out. Now, as far as the first quarterback I have as a sit this week, it's going to be Jared Goff against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Goff has had a little bit of a streak where he's been one of the top 10 fantasy quarterbacks this season, but he struggled against New England, which a lot of quarterbacks do tend to struggle against New England. But now he plays Dallas, who's the 7th best against the quarterback, only allowing 13.4 points. They're keeping quarterbacks at just about 200 yards passing as well. They've got the most sacks in the league as far as getting to the quarterback. So for me, this is not a matchup I'm taking Goff off of a bye. I know sometimes quarterbacks going off the bye tend to do pretty well because they've had extra time to prepare for the team they're going up against. But realistically, I think just the way this Dallas Cowboys defense plays, this is not one I'm going to put in there. Now, Derek Carr's another quarterback I don't trust this week against the Texans. Texans have held quarterbacks like Russell Wilson to 12 points. Justin Fields to 7 points. Trevor Lawrence to 12 points. The Texans actually hold quarterbacks to 13.7 points. They're actually 8th in the NFL, right behind the Dallas Cowboys. They are a pretty good defensive team. A lot of people are kind of, again, they think about the Texans as a rebuilding team, and they're not really looking at what they've actually been able to produce and do. So this game, they're also averaging an interception per game as well. Derek Carr has struggled and been very inconsistent. He's not getting to the right plays, or he's reading the offensive schemes wrong. Or, and last game's sake, you had Devontae Adams running to Hunt Renfro, or vice versa, whatever you want to call it. Their offense just is in shambles right now. Derek Carr typically does put up decent amount of fantasy points, but I don't like this matchup. I think it's kind of one of those sneaky plays where I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's a Texas. I'm not going to start Derek Carr. Now, the last quarterback I don't like this week is going to be Russell Wilson. At this point, I think a lot of people have probably either dropped him or just completely don't feel comfortable and they just put him on the bench. Going against the Jets, Jets surprisingly have done a really good job against the quarterback this year. They're keeping quarterbacks to 15.7 points and under 230 passing yards. They do allow a touchdown pass per game, but they also average an interception per game. And if you saw that game against the Packers, they held Rodgers to 11 fantasy points. They were able to get to him. They applied a lot of pressure. The defensive coverage was doing really well, and I get it. I think Russell Wilson has better receivers, of course, with Sutton and Judy. But with that said, Rodgers is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson. He reads defenses really well. Rodgers typically does not make mistakes or play poorly like he did this past weekend. And I think a lot of that has to give contribution to the Jets defense. A lot of people, again, you think about these teams that are typically a losing franchise as in the past 5 to 10 years. The Jets have done a really good job of getting a lot of great young talent through the draft and a couple free agents to really help this team out. And I don't trust Russell Wilson at all this week. Now, as far as my first sleeper goes, I have Dak Prescott versus the Lions. Dak as a sleeper is kind of I don't know. He's probably someone you're going to start anyways just because you're excited to get him back from his injury. But the reason why I put him as a sleeper is because you may be a little hesitant just because you are coming back from a thumb injury, which we're not really sure how this is going to perform. But this is the perfect game to come back. Lions allow the second most points to the quarterback with 22.9. They allow 270 passing yards. And being that this is Dak's first game, I really feel comfortable playing him. But I understand the hesitation if you're unsure. But I think he's a really good sleeper this week because I think there's going to be some rust. I do think he's not going to perform like everyone hopes he does, but this is a good opportunity for him. Another quarterback I like is a good sleeper is Geno Smith versus the Chargers. Geno didn't have the game most people had expected against the Cardinals, especially the way that defense performs against the pass. They don't do a great job. He didn't make mistakes, but he also didn't score any touchdowns, which I think is where his fault was. This is a game he should still be able to score against the Chargers. Chargers allow 18.1 points to the quarterback and over 250 passing yards. They also allow an average of two touchdowns per game as well. And the fact that J.C. Jackson has been getting benched, he actually was pretty much benched the second half against the Broncos because he is underperforming. He missed a few games. He's not looked good. He gave up a big pass interference. He gave up a touchdown to Russell Wilson towards the middle of the game. J.C. Jackson has not turned around to be the free agent they were hoping he would be because he was a great cornerback for the New England Patriots. But I think a lot of people forget leaving New England does not mean you're going to be better somewhere else. New England does a great job of putting their players in the best position. So, again, I like Geno Smith as a really good sleeper this week. So those are my start, sits, and sleepers for the quarterback position. If you guys do have questions of who you should start and sit, again, hit us up in the comments down below. We'll be gladly to help you guys out. If you guys have trade questions or waiver questions, again, hit us there. Make sure you check out our waiver wire video. Again, that is up, ready to go for you guys to help get you guys some players for this week. If you guys did enjoy the content, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell is on. That way you guys are notified every time we drop a video just like this. Of course, stay tuned. We'll be dropping our start sits for running back, wide receiver, and tight end as well. If you guys did enjoy the content, hit the like button. It's greatly appreciated. It really shows the appreciation and love from you guys. You guys have really helped build a great community around here, and I love it. You guys are awesome. Again, make sure you check out our other start sit videos, our waiver wire videos, and I'll check you guys out.